It was close to midnight when Emily finally put her phone down, exhausted after another long day of curating her Instagram feed. She was 24, a rising fashion blogger in New York City, and her phone rarely left her hand. She lived in a tiny studio apartment on the 12th floor, the kind of place where silence pressed against the walls at night, broken only by the faint hum of the refrigerator. Scrolling through her comments and likes had become a nightly ritual, but that night, something was different. A new message notification appeared in her inbox. From a mirror, Zaro. She frowned. The account had no profile picture, no posts, no followers. A blank shadow. She hesitated, then tapped the message. A picture loaded slowly onto her screen. Emily's breath caught in her throat. It was her apartment. Her bedroom. The exact angle from where her window looked out over the city. Except, she hadn't taken this photo. And in the picture she was visible, sitting at her desk, wearing the same sweatshirt she had on at that very moment. Emily's chest tightened. She glanced at the window, but the blinds were shut. She went to the door, checked the lock twice, pressed her back against it as if the flimsy chain could actually protect her. Probably some prank, she whispered to herself. She told herself someone had hacked her account, pulled an old photo. But then another message arrived. A video this time. She pressed play with trembling fingers. The screen showed her bed. A few seconds of silence. Then, the covers shifted, slowly, as though someone invisible had slipped beneath them. Emily felt her stomach twist. Her bed was 3 feet away, empty, perfectly neat. But in the video, the camera shook slightly, like someone was holding it, standing right where she was now. She slammed her phone face down on the desk, heart hammering so hard she thought it might explode. The silence of the apartment became unbearable. She turned on the TV just for noise, the flicker of light across the walls. But the phone buzzed again. Against every instinct, she picked it up. Another photo. This time it wasn't of her apartment. It was of her face, taken from above, as if she were lying in bed asleep. Her eyes were closed, hair spread across the pillow. Her knees buckled. She had never seen this photo before. "No," she whispered, a desperate shake in her voice. "This isn't real. This can't be real." And then, just beneath the picture, a caption appeared. "Post in 5 minutes." Emily's breath grew shallow as her thumb hovered over the message. Post in 5 minutes. Her mind raced. What did that mean? Post where? On her account. She flipped quickly to her Instagram profile. Nothing new yet. The same polished grid of bright colors, perfect angles, curated happiness. But then, before her eyes, a new upload blinked into existence. A photo of her, lying in bed, eyes closed, sleeping. It had already been posted. It already had dozens of likes. People were commenting things like "so aesthetic" and "how peaceful," as if they couldn't see the horror beneath it. Emily's hands trembled so violently she nearly dropped her phone. No, this isn't possible. She hadn't taken the photo. She hadn't uploaded it. Yet there it was on her own profile. She immediately deleted the post, but before she could catch her breath, another notification appeared. Another photo. This time, it was her standing by the door, taken just seconds ago. She looked at the door, then back at her phone. The angle was from behind her. Someone, or something, was in the room with her. Her stomach dropped into an icy pit. She backed into the corner, clutching her phone like a lifeline. The apartment, usually so small it felt suffocating, now felt endless and dangerous, every shadow alive. The phone buzzed again. A live stream had started, under her own account. Her heart stopped. She opened it. The live feed was her apartment, her desk, her window. The shaky camera moved across the room until it settled on her. Her, crouched in the corner, shaking, watching herself through her phone in real time. "No, please stop," Emily whispered, voice cracking. Then, in the live stream comments, messages started appearing. "This is so real. What filter is this? She looks terrified. Amazing content. What's behind her?" Emily froze. Her eyes darted to the screen. A shadow was moving in the live stream, just behind her. But in the room itself, there was nothing. Her chest heaved. "I'm going crazy," she whispered, but the tears welling in her eyes told her otherwise. The shadow in the live stream leaned closer and closer, its shape impossible to make out, a smear of darkness bending like liquid, stretching toward her. And then a whisper, inside her room, not from the phone. Low, rasping, right against her ear. "Smile." The live stream screen flashed white. A new photo instantly appeared on her feed. Emily's own face, wide-eyed, her mouth twisted into a smile she hadn't made. Her phone slipped from her hands and clattered to the floor. And from somewhere deep inside the apartment, she heard the distinct click of a camera shutter. Emily's chest burned as though her lungs had been crushed. The apartment felt smaller now, the shadows swollen and heavy, pressing down on her. She picked up her phone with trembling fingers, desperate to turn it off. Shut it all down. But the phone refused to obey. The screen flickered, lines of static running down the feed until her profile page opened again. Her grid was no longer the cheerful, curated life she had built. It was filled, post after post, of her sleeping, her walking to the kitchen, her brushing her teeth, her staring at her phone in terror just seconds ago. Every angle, every movement documented as though invisible eyes had always been on her. And beneath each post, the comments multiplied like swarming insects. "She doesn't know. Almost time. Keep watching." Her stomach knotted. The voices in the comments. It was like they knew her, like they weren't just random users. She could feel them breathing through the screen. Then came another notification. Her inbox, a new message. Final post. Her pulse pounded in her ears. She didn't dare open it, but the phone forced itself, images spilling across the screen. A series of photographs, rapid fire. Her front door slightly ajar. A dark figure standing in the hall. That same figure stepping into her room. Emily, sitting in the corner, phone in hand, eyes wide with terror. The last photo hadn't happened yet. Her throat tightened. She looked toward the door. It was shut. Silent. But when she turned back to her phone, the last photo updated. The figure was closer now, its blurred, tar-like body leaning toward her, its face a smear of static and noise. Emily dropped the phone, heart hammering. She backed up against the wall, tears running hot down her cheeks. Please just stop." A noise creaked through the room, slow, deliberate footsteps. She screamed, fumbling to grab the phone again, hoping to call someone, anyone. But the screen was already filled with one final upload. A photo, her body, slumped lifeless on the floor. The likes began to rise instantly. Hundreds, thousands. Comments flooded in. Perfect ending. Best content yet. She finally smiled. Emily felt the shadow coil around her, cold as ice, dragging her breath away. Her last scream was swallowed by the dark. And then, silence. Hours later, her Instagram account kept posting. New photos appeared. Her apartment, her bed, her window at night. But now, anyone scrolling too long through her profile would sometimes see something strange. A blurred reflection, a crooked smile, a shadow in their own room. And the comments still whispered, "Keep watching. You're next." I never believed Instagram could kill someone, at least not in the literal sense. But what I witnessed that night, what I lived through, wasn't just a story. It was a nightmare broadcast to thousands of people, and I was one of them. It was 2:07 a.m. in New York City when I stumbled onto the live. The username caught my attention first, Elila Knight. I knew her vaguely. A content creator, mid-20s, pretty, always posting makeup tutorials and late-night story times. The kind of face you scroll past without thinking much. But the title of her live stopped me cold. Don't leave me alone. Please watch. The viewer count hovered around 63 at first. Small enough to feel intimate, big enough to sense a strange urgency. I tapped in. The screen flickered like a bad connection. Lila's face appeared, dimly lit by the bluish glow of her phone screen. She looked exhausted. Her eyeliner was smeared, her hair messy, and she kept glancing over her shoulder as if someone stood just outside the frame. "Hey guys," she whispered, voice trembling. "Thanks for joining. Please don't leave. Just stay with me. Something's wrong in my apartment, I can't." The screen glitched, cutting her off. For half a second, her image warped. Her face stretched unnaturally, eyes wide, mouth open too far, as if the camera caught something inside her face. Then it snapped back to normal. The chat exploded. "WEF was that? Did you see her face? Lila, are you okay?" She didn't answer the comments directly. Instead, she lifted her phone, showing the corner of her room. A shadow moved there, thin, elongated, like a man standing too close to the wall. My stomach knotted, but when she swung the phone back, the corner was empty. Her breathing grew ragged. "It's been happening all week. Things move in the dark. I hear someone whispering in the bathroom when I shower. My mirror, sometimes it shows me with my eyes blacked out. I thought I was losing it, but tonight, another glitch." The live froze, then resumed with a sound that didn't belong, a whisper layered under her words like someone speaking from inside the stream itself. "Tonight, tonight, tonight." The chat went insane. People begged her to end the live, others spammed laughing emojis, thinking it was a prank. But I didn't laugh, because behind her, just for an instant, I saw something move. A face, pale and featureless, leaning into the camera, then vanishing. Lila didn't notice. She pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. "You heard that too, didn't you? I'm not crazy, you heard it. You." The viewer count jumped. 200, 400, 700. More and more people were joining, drawn in like moths to a flame. But the chat began to change. Strange comments appeared, not usernames I recognized. Accounts with no profile pictures, just blank gray circles. "We see you. Don't stop streaming. Keep watching. Don't blink." Lila froze. She read one of those comments aloud, her voice shaking. "Who wrote that? That's not one of my followers." I typed furiously, "End the live, please." She looked at her phone as if she could see me specifically. Her eyes glistened with tears. "I can't. You don't understand. If I stop, it comes closer." "What comes closer?" someone asked. The lights in her apartment flickered, plunging her into near darkness. The phone's front camera struggled, creating jagged shadows across her face. She whispered again, but her lips didn't match the audio. "Closer. Closer. Closer." I leaned forward, pulse racing. That wasn't her voice anymore. And then, out of nowhere, the live shifted. For the first time, the camera wasn't showing Lila at all. It was showing me. My own room, lit by the dim glow of my computer screen, stared back at me through her feed. My posters, my chair, the exact reflection of where I sat. Except, in the corner of my room on the screen, a shadow twitched. I spun around in real life. Nothing. Empty. But on her live, the shadow was still there, growing taller. The chat blew up with confusion. "Wait, why am I seeing my room too? Bro, that's my desk." This isn't funny. It wasn't just me. Everyone in that live was starting to see their own room bleeding into the stream, and the shadows in those rooms were moving. Lila's scream pierced the phone speaker. The camera snapped back to her, her face pale, her eyes wide. She clutched the phone so tight her knuckles bled white. "It's feeding off you," she cried. "Every viewer, it's watching through you. Oh God, why did I go live?" The viewer count surged past 3,000, and then just as quickly started to drop. People were vanishing from the chat one by one, not logging out, just gone. Their comments froze mid-sentence. Their usernames never appeared again. Lila sobbed, backing into the corner of her room. "Don't leave me alone. Please stay. If you leave, it takes you first. If you keep watching, maybe we have a chance." The shadow behind her lengthened, swallowing the wall. I should have exited right then. I should have turned my phone off. But I didn't. I couldn't. Something in that live rooted me in place like I was chained to the screen. And then, as her lights went out completely, I realized the whisper wasn't just coming from my phone anymore. It was inside my room. The whisper grew louder. It didn't sound like one voice, it was thousands layered on top of each other, murmuring in broken English, some even sounding like languages I couldn't recognize. I muted my phone in panic. But the whisper didn't stop. It was still there, spilling into my room, rattling against the walls like static electricity. On screen, Lila was trembling, clutching her phone like a lifeline. "Don't mute me," she screamed, her lips trembling. "Don't look away, please. That's how it finds you. It crawls through the silence." I turned the volume back on instantly, terrified. The chat had changed again. Normal comments were almost gone. Instead, more blank accounts kept appearing, hundreds of them flooding the stream with the same words over and over. "Stay with us, don't blink." The count must rise. The viewer count climbed to 5,000, 7,000, 10,000. But unlike a viral live, the chat wasn't excited. It was hysterical. People begged for help, screaming in all caps that they couldn't exit, that their phone screen was frozen to the live. My power just went out. "Something's in my hallway. Please help." One by one, their messages cut off mid-sentence. I felt sweat dripping down my back. My hand hovered over the power button on my phone, but I didn't press it. Not after what Lila said, not after what I'd seen. Suddenly, her camera flipped again, except it wasn't me this time. It showed someone else. A man sitting in his bedroom, hunched over his phone, watching the stream like I was. He blinked rapidly, muttering, "No, no, no." Behind him, something crawled out from under his bed. At first, it looked like a human silhouette, but its joints bent backward, its arms stretching unnaturally long. Its head turned toward the camera, even though the man hadn't noticed it yet. The chat blew up. "Behind you! Run, oh God!" The man glanced over his shoulder at last, just as the figure snapped forward with impossible speed. His scream cut the live like a knife, followed by a sickening crunch like bones breaking underwater. The feed glitched. His image froze on his face, twisted in terror, his mouth open wide. Then, he was gone. His username disappeared from the chat forever. The screen returned to Lila. She was crying now, rocking back and forth. "You see? You see what it does? I thought if people watched, it would stay with me, but it's spreading. Oh God, it's spreading." I wanted to throw my phone across the room, but I couldn't. My eyes felt glued, my fingers stiff like ice. And then, something impossible happened. The live began showing multiple viewers at once. 4 screens appeared, split like a security feed. Random people in their homes, watching the stream. Some were screaming, others praying, some just frozen with wide eyes. And in every feed, there was a shadow, a dark figure creeping closer. One girl's lights flickered out, leaving her in pitch black. A boy in Texas backed into his closet as something with claws scratched across the door. A mother tried to shield her child, both crying, but the child's face glitched into static. The whispers grew deafening. The words became clear at last. "We are live. We are here." Suddenly my screen froze. But it wasn't buffering. It was my own face staring back. I dropped the phone. The screen still glowed, showing me from the same angle I was sitting, but I wasn't moving. The me on the screen smiled slowly, though I hadn't moved my lips at all. The chat went berserk. "Who is that? Bro, that's not him. He's already taken." I scrambled for the power button, but my phone wouldn't shut off. My fake reflection in the stream tilted its head, its eyes black pools. It whispered through the speaker, "You're next." The air in my room turned cold, so cold my breath fogged up. The corner where the shadow had been earlier stretched wider, darker, until it looked like a hole torn into the wall. And then, from inside my own phone, I heard Lila's voice again, broken, hollow. "Don't leave me alone. Please. Stay. It's almost here." The viewer count ticked higher, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. And all I could think was, if it was feeding off us, then with every new viewer, it was getting stronger. The screen flickered one final time, and that's when something crawled out of the hole in my wall. The thing that crawled from the hole wasn't fully human. Its body stretched too thin, its skin slick like oil, glistening with static light. Every time it moved, my phone screen glitched in sync, as if the live feed and my reality were bleeding into each other. Its head snapped toward me. No eyes, just hollow sockets where black liquid dripped, sizzling as it hit the floor. The chat exploded in panic. "It's outrun too late." My phone vibrated violently, almost leaping out of my hand. The screen was filled with comments that weren't from usernames anymore, just lines of numbers counting upward. 001, 203. The figure bent down, its face inches from mine, but instead of attacking, it leaned toward my phone. Its voice spilled through the speaker, but this time, it was everyone's voice at once. Male, female, children, elderly, layered into one guttural chorus. More eyes, more watchers. The count must rise. Behind it, the hole widened, swallowing the wall, revealing darkness so deep it seemed endless. From inside, hands began to reach, long, skeletal, clawing at the edges, desperate to crawl out. My phone flashed violently. The live wasn't just showing me anymore. It showed thousands of viewers at once, each one screaming in their own homes. Their shadows stretched unnaturally, rising behind them, peeling off the walls like living creatures. And then, I saw her again. Lila. But she wasn't on her bed anymore. She was standing inside the hole, her skin pale, eyes pitch black. She smiled with a mouth far too wide. "You kept watching," she whispered. "Now you belong here too." The hands inside the void reached further, grabbing her, pulling her backward until she vanished. She didn't resist. She welcomed it. Suddenly, the shadows behind the other viewers lunged. One by one, their screens went black as they were dragged into nothingness, their screams cutting off. The chat died down to silence. The viewer count ticked to 100,000. And then the live focused back on me. My frozen reflection smiled wider, its mouth tearing into a jagged grin. Slowly, it raised its hand and pressed a single finger to its lips. "Shh." The figure in my room mirrored it, crouching down, silent, waiting. I screamed, finally hurling the phone against the wall. The screen shattered, but the glow didn't die. The fragments of glass kept flickering with the live feed, each shard showing my reflection still smiling, still watching. The hole swallowed the last of my wall, stretching higher, wider until it loomed over me like a second sky. The whispers filled the air again, deafening now, rattling the windows and the floor. "We are live. We are here. We are forever." I bolted for the door, but it wouldn't open. The handle twisted uselessly. My reflection, no, the thing wearing my face, stepped out of the phone shards and into the room. Its movements were jagged, stuttering like bad signal. It leaned close, lips brushing my ear. "Don't worry. They're watching. They'll see everything." The last thing I remember before blacking out was the viewer count rising. 200,000, 300,000, a million. When I woke, I wasn't in my room. I was inside the live. I could see endless screens all around me, each one showing another viewer, screaming, begging, praying. But none of them could look away. None of them could escape. And then I understood the final twist. The live never ended. It doesn't stream on Instagram anymore. It streams through us. Every mirror, every black screen, every reflective surface. I can see them watching me, waiting. And if you've listened this far, if you've imagined the shadows in your own room, if you've felt the cold breath at the back of your neck, you're already part of it. Because the count just went up again. It started innocently enough. Liam, an aspiring photographer at an old Boston art school, loved capturing moments, the way the sunlight spilled through the window, the curve of a stranger's smile, the shadows cast by the cracked floorboards. His Instagram following was growing steadily, his followers liking every post, commenting endlessly. It felt normal, exhilarating even. One rainy October afternoon, Liam wandered the halls, camera slung over his shoulder. He noticed a strange stillness in the school's old East Wing, where the paint peeled from the walls and the fluorescent lights flickered weakly. He lifted his camera instinctively, framing a shot of the broken hallway. Click. The flash illuminated the hall, but for a brief second Liam saw something that made his stomach twist. A shadowy face, twisted, pressed against the far wall, eyes hollow, staring directly at him. He blinked. It was gone. Brushing it off as a trick of light and shadow, Liam posted the photo on Instagram. That night, while scrolling through comments, he noticed a new message from an unknown account. "You saw me." His hands shook. He laughed nervously. A fan messing with him, he thought, but the account didn't reply further. The next day, he learned that a student who had walked down that hallway yesterday had suffered a sudden, fatal accident, falling from the stairwell. No witnesses, just an empty hallway and the body. Liam's heart raced. It felt like more than coincidence. Night after night, Liam noticed a pattern. Each photo he took in that East Wing seemed to correspond with tragedy. Shadows that weren't there before lingered. Faces appeared faintly in the background. Sometimes he could swear they moved when he looked closer. Then came the whispers. Scrolling through Instagram late one evening, Liam saw it. A face, a new one he didn't recognize, hovering in his most recent post. His phone vibrated violently, and a notification popped up from a DM. "Why are you watching us?" Liam froze. He could hear soft, almost inaudible whispers coming from the camera itself, though no one was around. He dropped the phone. The whispers grew louder, like dozens of tiny mouths just out of reach. Panic clawed at him, but curiosity kept him glued. The camera seemed alive. The lens glimmered with a faint, unnatural light. He aimed it at his bedroom mirror just to check. In the reflection, behind his own face, a figure pressed close. A face that was pale, hollow-eyed, twisted in a silent scream. Liam stumbled back, dropping the camera, but when he glanced back, it was gone. The next day, he tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was tired, overworked, imagining things. But when he scrolled Instagram, he saw it again. The figure in the corner of a photo he hadn't even taken, the shadow of someone he had never met. And then the notifications started piling up. Hundreds of new accounts, all faceless, all sending the same simple message. Look closer. By the third day, Liam was exhausted, sleep-deprived. Every photograph he took seemed to pulse with a life of its own, the shadows twitching slightly as if moving while he wasn't looking. He couldn't delete the photos. They reappeared instantly, fresh, vivid, and horrifying. On the fourth night, Liam set up a camera on a tripod to film himself sleeping, hoping to catch his own mind playing tricks. When he reviewed the footage in the morning, he screamed. The video showed him asleep, but behind him dozens of figures moved silently through his room. Faces pressed against walls, floors, and ceiling. Their mouths didn't move, yet a faint whispering filled the audio. The last frame froze on one shadow leaning directly over him, hand reaching out. Then, the screen went black. Liam's phone buzzed with a single DM. "You posted your first real one. Now we can see you too." He dropped the phone. His hands shook uncontrollably. For the first time, he understood. The photographs were not just images. They were doors. Each post, each upload opened a window into another darker world. And now, whatever lived there knew exactly where he was. The shadows pressed closer that night. Liam swore he could feel dozens of unseen eyes watching, waiting. And somewhere, in the silent static of his notifications, a new account appeared. One that carried his own name. The next morning, Liam didn't sleep. He barely ate. Every time he glanced at his phone, a new notification blinked. Every photo he had ever posted, each carefully curated, each smiling face, each perfect sunset, now shimmered with a faint, unnatural distortion. Shadows flickered at the edges. Faces moved ever so slightly, as if trying to escape the stillness of the image. Liam's hands shook as he opened Instagram. His own name appeared in the search bar. Curiosity warred with fear. He clicked. The account was private, newly created, and filled with photographs of him. Photos taken moments ago, of him in his bedroom, in the kitchen, in the hallway. He hadn't left the apartment. How? A video notification appeared. Liam hesitated, then tapped. It showed his room from an impossible angle, as if a camera hovered outside space itself. The video began, showing him moving about his day, oblivious. And behind him, always in the frame, a shadow lingered, sometimes stretching toward him, sometimes hovering just above the floor. The final frame froze on a face, pale, hollow, and smiling, a perfect mirror of the first photo he had taken in the East Wing. A DM arrived immediately after the video ended. "We are always behind the lens, always behind you." Liam's mind snapped. He unplugged his phone, smashed the camera, and threw the SD card into the trash. Maybe if he destroyed the devices, the shadow would stop. But even as he tried to convince himself, he noticed it. A dark figure in the corner of his eye, always there, always watching. The next day at school, he tried to focus on normal life. Friends laughed, teachers lectured, but Liam could barely concentrate. Every glance at reflective surfaces, windows, mirrors, even spooned cafeteria trays, showed movement behind him. Shadows that shouldn't be there. He started taking secret photos with his phone, but when he looked, the images were blank. The shadows had vanished from the frame, except in one place, the private account. Every new photo he took, every glance he gave to a reflection, appeared there. Watching. Waiting. By nightfall, Liam couldn't ignore the whispers. At first, faint, like wind rustling through paper. Then louder, more distinct, slithering into his mind. They spoke in overlapping voices, dozens of them chanting, taunting, post it, share it, show us. Liam realized with horror that the shadows wanted attention. They thrived when he shared. Each uploaded photo didn't just capture the image, it strengthened them, made them more real. And with every realness, they crept closer, edging into his world. Desperation clawed at him. He disconnected his Wi-Fi, smashed his phone into pieces, and tried to sleep. But shadows filled his apartment, lurking in corners, crawling over walls, reflecting in every metallic surface. And now, the whispers weren't content with murmurs. They were laughing. Hundreds of voices, low, hollow, and full of glee. Then, an idea. Liam grabbed his old Polaroid camera, the analog one, disconnected from the internet. He pointed it at the living room corner, hoping to see if the shadows would appear. Click. The photo developed slowly. He held it up. The image was blank. Relief. Fleeting. But then, moving in the shadows of the developing photo, something stirred. A hand, elongated, pale, reaching toward him. Liam threw the photo across the room. The hand in the image stretched, twisted, and touched the wall in front of him. The room temperature plummeted. His breath fogged the air. It was no longer just images, they were breaking through. He realized the private account wasn't just an Instagram profile. It was a portal, a link between his world and whatever these shadows were. And he had fed it, unknowingly, every single post he had ever made. The next morning, Liam couldn't find his reflection in mirrors. Windows showed empty rooms. Only the shadows remained, observing him. A single DM pinged through on an old device he thought was destroyed. "Your last post is yourself, don't look away." And this time it wasn't in the photos. They were in the room. Liam could feel the weight of them pressing in, surrounding him, merging with every reflection, every corner. The whispers became commands. "Join us. Show yourself. Stay forever." For the first time, Liam realized the truth. It wasn't about capturing shadows. It was about becoming one. Each photo, each post, each glance into the camera fed them the essence of life itself. And now, there was no escaping. The night was silent. Too silent. Liam's apartment felt like a mausoleum. Every shadow he saw in the corner of his eye seemed more solid, more patient. He knew he couldn't run, couldn't hide. The Instagram account, the portal, had grown stronger, hungrier. A new notification appeared on his old battered phone. The screen glowed an unnatural white. There it was. A live feed. Himself. Sitting in his apartment. But the feed didn't just show him. It showed him from every angle, angles no camera could reach, angles from inside the walls, from beneath the floorboards. And behind him, the shadows were moving, crawling out from reflections, climbing over walls, pooling like liquid black. Panic clawed at his throat. Liam smashed the phone, but the feed remained. Across the room on the blank screen of his laptop, the images played. Across the wall, the shadows began to form shapes, forming human silhouettes, laughing, whispering, pointing at him. "Post it. Show yourself. Forever." Liam stumbled backward. Every reflective surface, mirrors, glass, polished metal, now held a shadowy doppelganger. His own face stared back at him, pale, eyes hollow, mouth stretched in a grin that was not his own. The whispers were now voices he couldn't tell apart. Hundreds, thousands, all demanding the same thing. Desperate, he grabbed the last Polaroid camera he had left. He tried to snap a photo of the corner where the shadows seemed thickest. Click. But when the photo developed, it wasn't just the shadows. It was himself, sitting in his apartment, staring back at him with wide, terrified eyes. And behind him, the silhouettes, their number unimaginable, stood, waiting, smiling. He realized the horrible truth. The shadows didn't want him to photograph them. They wanted him to exist in their frame. They had already begun replacing him. Each time he blinked, a piece of him slipped away into their world. His memories, his presence, his very self, being slowly siphoned. The whispers became unbearable. "Join, join, stay, forever." Liam fell to his knees, hands shaking. There was no escape. The city outside continued its indifferent life, unaware, while in this apartment, time had warped. Shadows didn't just linger, they consumed, they replaced, they imitated. He tried to scream. His voice didn't leave his mouth. It was stolen, trapped inside the growing blackness that now pressed against his skin, cold and suffocating. Then, the phone lit up one final time. A notification. A DM. "Your final postum is due." Every photo he had ever taken, every story he had ever shared, now appeared on the account, but none of them were him anymore. Just shadows, frozen mid-motion, staring, waiting. And now, a new post had been created, his face, pale and frozen in terror, captured by a lens that no camera could hold. Liam felt himself being lifted, pulled into the frame, his hands clawed at the air, his legs kicked, but nothing stopped it. The shadows swallowed him, his body turning translucent, eyes wide, lips frozen in a scream. And then silence. Outside, the apartment looked normal. The lights flickered briefly, then stabilized. No sound of movement, no whispers. Only the faint glow of a phone on the kitchen counter. The Instagram account open, displaying a new post. A photo of an empty apartment. But if you looked closely, In the corner of the image, a faint, pale figure crouched, staring, waiting. Liam's last frame had joined the gallery, and the shadows. They waited for the next post,